Okay, let's get started. Thank you everyone for coming. You also saw a great teaser from Camille yesterday, and thank you for coming to the actual movie. I hope you will like it. Like every teaser, Camille's has been, well, it was a little bit misleading, but he captured the nature of the product, but it's a little bit more than just a development tool. We'll do a demo after the presentation. But before the movie starts, I'd like to introduce the cast. Tatiana, she is the project manager for this tool, and Alexander, he's from Denmark. He's the brain and the hands behind VMS XDE. He and his team, they've done a great job with a huge help from VMS developers to make it happen. I'm very proud that we've managed to achieve a big milestone with this product. I'm sure it will help us and it will help you in the future. So basically what it is that after many years of development, we finally managed to run OpenVMS natively on Linux. Of course, we don't run the entire OpenVMS. We only run 90% of it, like Camille said. We don't support kernel mode applications. We don't support native device drivers, but most of user mode, user level applications, development tools, they work fine in a VMS environment inside the Linux operating system. Well, you may ask, why did we do that, right? Because VMS runs fine on its own. Why do you need to run it on Linux? Probably it doesn't make sense. You can put it in a hypervisor and it will just work. What was the point? Well, I can give you like dozens of different reasons why we did that, but we only have 40 minutes, even less. So I'll focus on one. So bear with me for about 20 minutes and then we'll go to the actual presentation. So let's go back in time 40 years. In the 80s, DEC was an extremely innovative company. They came up with great ideas how to improve development, software development. We all remember this great legendary products, Wax Notes, predecessor to Wiki actually, right? It's a great conference tool. CMS, one of the first source control systems. MMS, before Make, DTM, PCA, LSC was the first IDE, I would say, right? Because it really helped with development productivity. The other operating system pretty much didn't have that. But then, let's fast forward. In the 80s, VMS, great tools, great, the DEC set. MS-DOS was available on other platforms. Borland was extremely innovative company. They came up with the idea for a proper IDE where you could develop, build, and debug your applications within a single environment. Microsoft came up with Quick Basic, stuff like that. Let's move forward. GUIs started to appear. Borland, again, came up with Delphi. Microsoft came up with the idea of Visual Studio. VMS development environment hadn't changed much. 2000, further innovation. On the left-hand side, same famous tools on the right-hand side, right? SVN appeared in early 2000s. It was a huge advantage to CMS already. 10 years later, more innovation on the left-hand side. Not much had changed on the right-hand side. Probably, and this approach has its own pluses and minuses, right? The biggest plus is that it's a familiar environment. You have worked with it for 10 years. Why do you need to constantly learn the new tools? VMS developers, they can do magic with what they have. I had the privilege of working with Andy Goldstein for like 4 years. He could do magic with Tico. I didn't even know how to start it and what to do with it. But with Tico, he was much more productive than I was with Visual Studio Code or Eclipse, really. Same, I can say for John and for other developers. You are extremely productive with the same tools because you've had so much time to master these tools. Unfortunately, the world has changed. The original generation of VMS developers, you're about to retire. Unfortunately, we would like you to stay. I would do whatever I can to keep them to stay. But they're saying, my grandchildren are going to college. It's time for me to focus on my family, on my dog. I want to travel around the world, and it takes 180 days. You won't give me 180 days vacation.
I think we do, as long as they get their work done.
And we pay for the cruise, exactly. We're thinking about it. So we have new developers joining the company. You all had the pleasure to listen to Thanasis and his team, to Vadim Ilves. They're doing a great job, but they expect new tools. We can't force them to use Tico. We can.
It's not only this point, it's that if those people who made magic with Tico, can you imagine their productivity with better tools?
Probably.
You compare different
apples and oranges, I understand. But we're not in a position where I can tell Andy Goldstein, stop using Tico and start using Visual Studio. We allow people to use the tools they want. And you all notice huge advancement in software development in the past few years. People expect AI-enabled ideas. I know they're it's a hype, it's a huge hype. They're overestimated. But if they use properly, they can help. And we're using them very carefully. We don't allow them to write code for us. No way. We don't want to be like Microsoft, where 40% of VMS is written using AI. We want them to be stable. We want to keep this legendary uptime. Source control systems. We all know CMS was a good system, but Git it's better. CI/CD. People expect continuous delivery, continuous integration. Developers really like sandbox environments, is that you have your own environment, you can create a crash and burn system on your laptop. You develop something and it crashes, and you don't have to spend another week to restore your environment. With the click of a button, you get your original environment available in a few minutes. This all we cannot do if we only use VMS. Because this is the situation we're in right now. On the right-hand side, we have this great OpenVMS box with all great tools and compilers. But on the left-hand side, we have all this modern environment. But unfortunately, they're disconnected. Couple years ago, we introduced VMS IDE. It didn't take off. And we know why. It didn't take off because the IDE is here, but the source code and the compilers are over there. So if we want to keep the sources closer to the compilers, then they're far from the IDE. If we want to keep the sources near the IDE, they're disconnected from the compilers. They're not together. So what we try to do is we try to break this barrier, and we try to move OpenVMS itself closer to the modern tools. So your source code, your compilers, and your modern IDE, AI, sandbox environments, they're all in the same place. They all on your own laptop. You can work on the plane. You can work on the cruise ship if you want. If you don't have internet. Right now, if you want to work with the OpenVMS, either you need to have a hypervisor or you need to have an internet connection so you can connect to the server. These are pretty big limitations. What we've tried to deliver to the new...
autonomy.
It's an alternative. It's a great word.
Autonomy.
Oh, autonomy. Yes, autonomy and an alternative. it's all about alternatives. We want to give people options. If you want to use Tico and you want to use LSC, sure, be my guest. But if you want to use Visual Studio Code, you should be able to do it very easily. So what's VMS XDE? This is a open VMS environment that can work directly on your workstation. It works on Windows, it works on Linux, it works in the cloud, it works anywhere where Linux works. It integrates extremely well with modern tools. It's extremely easy to install. The installation guide is a single paragraph. It supports Docker, so you can easily create your own sandbox environments if you want. So how is it done? This is the most interesting part, I think, and I would like to spend a lot of time on that. We don't have time, but we have Alexander. He's here until the end of the day. Buy him some beer and he will tell you all about it.
Too much beer, no talks.
Oh, he's
capable.
The more he drinks, the better he speaks English. So, that's how it works. This is being patented, so we can tell you all about it, but it's our IP and it's being protected. So, XDE, it has 3 layers. The very first layer, actually, if you look at the XDE footprint, 90%, like Camille said, actually it's closer to 98%. It's OpenVMS. All of the execlets, libraries, runtime libraries, it's all OpenVMS. And we put VMS, it has 4 modes: user, supervisor, executive, and kernel. So images from the first 3 modes, that's what's here. Then, this is the most interesting part. It's called VMS XDE interface. As we all know, VMS kernel, it provides what, couple thousand routines, and most of them are provided by 2 execlets, public vectors and base image. We did our own implementation of those 2 execlets. And that's what XDE actually is. That's the soul, the heart, the core of XDE. Our own implementation of these 2 execlets. So the way it works, and we also provide our own custom image activator. So when VMS XDE loads a VMS image, what it does, it changes all the fix-ups. So instead of pointing to the VMS public vectors and to the VMS base image execlets, they point to the XDE implementations of that. We got extremely lucky because some smart person of DEC or Hewlett-Packard, when they ported VMS to Itanium, they had decided to use ELF as the format for object files, which made VMS object files 100% Linux compatible. Exactly. The same calling standards, the same use of registers. So for us, it made it it saved us years of time. So I don't know who that person is, but we owe them big time.
You're welcome.
Was it you? I don't think so.
That was one.
Then
The one that really did it passed away a couple months ago.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, John. Yeah, you deserve a lot of credit for what you had done. And then what XDE does, most of the routines we can handle, they're simple, but there is a small subset of the routine where we need Linux help. So what we do then, we take the call, make certain translations, and we send them down to Linux. We also have an XDE kernel. This is another layer that sits between XDE interface and Linux. Because Linux, it's not 100% VMS compatible. It's very different from its architecture.
The same about Windows, right?
And the same about Windows. Well, somebody told me that Windows is really VMS on steroids, but I think they diverged over time.
LSD.
Or that.
30 years takes you.
So that's what we do. We emulate OpenVMS memory management. We have our own memory manager. We emulate ASTs. Linux doesn't know anything about ASTs. The file system. Well, Linux does support VMS style file names, but again, it doesn't support versioning. We do that on this level. Linux itself is responsible for process management. You can run multiple applications within VMS XDE, and each of them will be a separate Linux process. So Linux scheduler will be responsible for orchestrating your processes. Signals, network I/O, we do it through Linux. So we get Linux latest and greatest TCP IP stack support, file system, same storage I/O. Basically, for us, Linux is a very complicated user mode chipset driver for VMS. With the help of Linux, VMS can get direct access to native hardware. But don't forget, like Camille said yesterday or 2 days ago, we're not 100% VMS compatible. There are some edge cases where XDE just can't match OpenVMS. And because of that, it's not a production environment. We don't expect you to go and install your production software in XDE and expect it to run. Probably never gonna happen. But what we know that all the compilers that come with OpenVMS, they were fine in XDE. These are just in a sense, they're very simple applications. They read file, they make changes to the file, and they save it back. That's all they do, right? Very boring. I don't know what we're paying you for exactly.
For sale.
I'll go back to that. So now it's demo time. I know you've been waiting for it. I'm sharing, but this didn't change. We're almost there. Here we go. So, across the hall, Rafael is doing presentation about VMS running in the cloud. Great work. I'm very impressed with what they have done. And according to Rafael, he can deploy a working OpenVMS system in the cloud in like 15 minutes. I can beat him, no problems. I can make VMS run on my system, install and run in less than 5 minutes. So this is how VMS XDE looks like from the installer point of view. It's 700 megabyte file. And very soon you'll be able to download it from our website if you sign up for the beta program. So let's run it. Run the installer. It starts extracting files. And you can see these are VMS files. All the directories are OpenVMS directories. All the versions are OpenVMS versions. These are real OpenVMS applications. And you see all these compilers, developer tools. Deck Windows is there. I forgot to say Deck Windows works in this environment. Well, what works is 100% compatible with VMS. So if it doesn't work in XDE, chances are it yet doesn't work in VMS. But if it works in VMS, it should work in XDE.
So does it mean that if VSI issues some patch for VMS, it should be also applied to this environment?
We will do that. As soon as a patch or ECO kit or a new version of VMS is available, we repackage XDE and we include the updated images. That's x86. Only x86. No. It's only x86. Yes, if you want alpha, we have AVTware and Stromasis people. We don't want to steal their food. Now, I haven't installed it. Now let's run it. Let's go to the XDE directory. Let's run XDE. Very first time when I ran it, it will create a user for me. VMS is a normal operating system. It expects a user. So it will create a user for me. User has been created. Now I can run it again. I need to log in. No password is required. Again, it's not a real VMS. It's a tool. But we assume that you already authorized when you logged in into your Windows or Linux system. So we don't need to ask for your password again. We only ask for your name. This is VMS. Tell any command you want me to run.
Edit GPU.
Like this?
Yeah, and then, yeah, it was get a file. Well,
Doesn't matter.
How about this? All virtual devices, they're implemented using native VMS stuff. The terminal, we use terminal device driver. Mailbox, we use native VMS mailbox driver. Hardware devices, we emulate them, so that's why we may have problems with that. What else? So CPU, even that works. And it gives me real function. What's funny is that, you know, this famous VSI dollar support com file that gives UA works fine. Which one?
Blocks, 0.
Of course, because they're emulated.
How do I know when they're full? Do they ever get full? Can I put infinite amount in a device?
You go to Windows Explorer or use DUDF utility on Linux and it will tell you. The way it works,
No, I think if I had a program to check for, let's say, 3 blocks, if 3 blocks is 0, then tell my user, go talk to your system manager. It would say, go talk to your system manager.
Go talk to yourself. This is your system. It runs on your computer.
Because I have a program that checks for non-zero block count to say I'm okay.
It would be implemented later.
We're collecting feedback.
Okay.
Yeah. If you develop an application and this application doesn't work well in XDE, you copy it to real VMS and you run it there and it will work fine. This is a development environment.
I really like that you try to break it already on.
They try.
That's my job.
So this is how it works. This is my VMS XDE application. It's this is the operating system. I want to show you the directory structure. So we create several directories. DK0 is the DK0 device. This is the system disk. That's where we keep all VMS system files. Then by default, we create DK1 directory. And in this directory, this is where your file, this is your home directory. And you see we support versions. So it will create you can run a purge and it will delete all the outdated versions. Then if we go here, DKC device, it's my favorite device. What it does, the DKC device, it allows you to map your Linux files and make them available to OpenVMS. It's when you do disk sharing in VMware, that's what you use. You can create a file here, in any text file, and it will show up in your XDE environment. And this is the feature that allows us to use Visual Studio Code, pretty much any Windows or Linux editor. You just point your editor into that directory, and whatever you create will become available to OpenVMS. What can I do? Let's go to my DKC device. Let's do a dir. You see, these are the files, exactly the same files I have here. The only limitation is that this directory does not support versioning. It's always the latest version. But if you want to have versions, we have DKA devices. Let's create a file. Edit hello world AC file, and I have here copy, paste, normal C application. Let's compile it. Let's link it. Can we run it? We can.
Yes, no,
Spelled wrong.
Okay.
We have runoff.
Oh, this is a normal VMS image. If you run and analyze, you see, it tells you all about it. It says it's not a fake VMS, it's real VMS.
So you could take that and FTP it to your VMS
Yes,
system.
yes.
and just run it.
They would be identical. It's the same compilers. You can compile your application on VMS and compile your application in XDE, and you compare them.
Yes,
There will
you
be
can take
exactly
that.
the same.
Just copy it back.
Yes.
Copy it back and forth.
I can do that other way as well.
Can you do a product, just a list of products?
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
And these are exactly the same kits that we would install on OpenVMS.
And like I told you, it comes pre-installed. Most popular development tools, they're included. You see, basic, C, CMS, DexSet, it's all included.
Can you move the executable to an actual VMS system?
Yes.
It's the same. Yes. You can do it from here. It comes with FTP, with an FTP, it comes with the FTP, with SSH client. You see, it comes with the latest and greatest SSH 992. So you can copy your file to any OpenVMS and it will run there.
So show default. You change your default by directory just by saying DKC1. Is that part of syslogin?
It's my logic.
Okay.
Yeah. Personal queries.
Syslogin.
So are you always going to be under that directory tree? So if you want to access files on your PC, do you have to copy them into that directory tree, or
You have to copy them. Yes, yes. It's a sandbox.
What about Linux codes? Can you make a symbolic link to another directory and work like that?
Yeah. Yeah, you can create some. One caveat: if you create a file in this environment, you will not be able to edit it in Linux because it creates this record format by default, not Streamalab. So you'd need to create a file in Linux, then they become available. I just created a Hello World program, right? So let's see how it looks like if I open it in Linux. Visual Studio Code. You see, it didn't like it because it's a record format. We're looking into that, but but as a workaround, again, just remember, always start in Linux or Windows. Because this is where VMS is better. It supports both. Linux only supports one format. You can do that, but it's and convert utility again. It is included.
Make it a StreamLF on VMS and then it's StreamLF.
You can do that, but by default, it creates record format of files.
Yes.
Right.
It should be transparent.
How we use it internally, I'll show you. This is my no. This is real OpenVMS on Itanium.
You're in Putty?
Yeah, why not? No, but this is Itanium. We use XDE to help us to port x86 applications. No, OpenVMS applications, port them to x86. Vadim, they gave a presentation the other day when he said there are situations when the same code compiles and works fine on Itanium or Alpha, doesn't work anymore on x86. And these problems become nightmare to debug. Right? I'll give you an example. I have a couple. So if you look at this program, and 1.c, it looks like a normal application. It creates two arrays and it prints them. And I can link, run. It works. Now, this is x86. Not XDE, this is real x86. You can see I'm using pipe and it runs in my VMware. If I do the same, oh no, what happened? It crashed. On x86, the same code, it crashes. It's a 10-line long file. You look at it for 15 minutes and you'll find what the problem was. But imagine it's 1,000 lines of code. How you can find what it is? That's what I do because I'm lazy. This is Visual Studio Code. And this is my artificial intelligence stuff. But by the way, same application I run here, and it will also crash. Let me show you. DKC1. Oh, DKC1 dear. B1 1. Also crashes because we stack unwind and exceptions. We've spent years making sure XDE is 100% compatible with VMS. I forgot to tell the debugger works. Oh, well, actually, we know it doesn't work, so it doesn't work in XDE. But whatever works in both environments. So now, why did it crash? We go back to my favorite Visual Studio Code environment, and I tell it. I ask a question. This code crashes on x86. Find the problem and suggest a fix. Crashes. Hope we have the internet is working. It's looking at the code. I'm using Claude. I like Claude. Again, Claude is like very, very junior software developer. It cannot do complex stuff, but simple stuff, it does pretty well. And immediately it found the problem. It says, I just have a simple buffer override situation. If you go here, you see I have 20 here, but the size of the array is 10. For some reason, on Itanium, not a problem works. On x86, it doesn't. And what I can do now, let's accept its changes. Let's save them. Let's go back to XDE, compile, link, run, doesn't crash anymore. I can copy this file, this image, back to OpenVMS. It will run on OpenVMS. I have another example. This is the infamous situation where you have a 32-bit variable and you save 64-bit in it. Again, works fine on Itanium because in Itanium we do the proper pairing, not on x86. So this application will work on Itanium. It's success. What happens is I have two variables A and B. I update the variable B and I expect that variable A is unchanged. And if it's not changed, I consider it a success. Same application. If we run it on OpenVMS. Oh, didn't work. You see, variable B has been changed and variable A has been changed. Exactly because of this 6432-bit override. Let's see if XDE can help. This is my application. That doesn't work. Same. Let's open a new chat. This code does not. Why? It's found the problem. It told me I'm writing too much data into my buffer. Provided fix. Can I do that? Here you go. Again, you can accept the change, or you don't have to, but at least it will tell you what the problem is. That's what's helpful about AI.
Does the AI understand history?
No. No. Fortran it does, but not well.
Would it be possible to stay within VS Code and compile executor? Because you're switching back and forth, I understand, for demo purposes.
I'm glad you asked.
Ideally, I would prefer to stay within.
Sure, I'm glad you asked. This is it. That's VMS XD. You don't have to go anywhere. You open your XD directly within the Visual Studio Code terminals.
Like having a secondary sub-window, not a implemented command like run, compiling.
We can do that. No problems with that.
Just educating us.
You can. Yeah, Visual Studio Code, it's extremely flexible. You can define your own commands. I could.
It's very done in very convenient way in Visual Studio. So,
Right. In the big brother or
Yeah.
the older brother. But yeah, here it's also pretty convenient. You need to know, it's not even JavaScript. You create a simple JSON and that's it. It's very easy to do. We just didn't do that. But again, I could apply the suggested change, compile it, and it would run. I could even copy it directly from here to my any OpenVMS to test it there. I can even debug. Probably not from here because the screen is too small, but we can do it here. I didn't come. Right. I can do go. It all works. I didn't build it with the debug environment, so I can't do step and examine, but I could do that again, no problem. So this is how we try to use it. It can help sometimes. We're not crazy about AI. We don't lie. I think it's overrated, but there are situations if you use it. Yeah, it's a tool. You just don't really. Probably. Again, because we have all the compilers, we support Fortran, we support COBOL. I could compile this Fortran application, I could compile this COBOL application, and it would work. Yes, absolutely. It's being released as we speak. Then we'll collect feedback. We'll make some minor improvements, and yes, we would like you to start working with it. The beta program that's running now has a license that expires on January 31st, I believe. Oh, right. The last slide. This is it. So beta is open. If you go to that URL, you can download it. It expires on January 31st. We have a forum.
I'm not sure this works.
It does.
Yeah, when I stop in marketing, so sorry. But it's on the website.
It will expire on January 31st. After that, you would need to apply your normal VMS licenses. Because LMF, again, works. If you want to keep using XDE after January, you would need to get your compiler's license, your VMS license. You do load license, and that's it.